talk about the movie Pet Shop of Horrors, and this is like one of those anime movies I wanted to see too for a long time. Never got around to it, but Netflix have it to rent. Thank you, Netflix. And this is actually based on the Japanese comic book The Magma, and I'm just surprised how why is this only lasted for 4 episodes? This is one of those things when it just lasted more and more and more. This is a really good horror anthology anime. It's like pretty much 4 episodes, but they put it into one, and it's like hosted by this. Like every horror anthology horror, you have to have a host. But this one is hosted by this guy who owns this pet shop, and he sells animals. But each of these animals have their uniqueness about themselves. Let's just say, and you got like 4 stories, and even though while the guy who owns the pet shop, he also have a story when there's a cop that's like investigating him, like how come everybody that died goes to his pet shop, you know? Like episode 1, you got this family. The daughter bought a bird. You find out the daughter died, and then the family decided to come to the pet shop and buy a rabbit, but the rabbit looked human looking, And pretty much every time somebody goes into the pet shop, we just say that they have to sign a contract and follow these rules. And if they don't follow these rules, let's say the outcome doesn't come so well for the victims who buy an animal from his pet shop. But anyway, you got the daughter, that looked like the daughter that died, and the family started feeding her water and vegetables, and then one day she would start begging for cookies, and the mother gonna give the daughter the cookie, and then the father said, don't give it to her, don't give it to her, listen to like the rules. Of course, like in any horror movie, anime or not, they don't listen at all. So the mother gave the girl the cookies, and the girl started eating up the cookies, and let's just say she started acting up and stuff, you know. Episode 2, you got Delicious. Delicious is about this guy, like his wife kind of like killed herself, and then the wife found out that the woman and this other guy was her husband, started having like an affair, like they both really love each other, like. And when the woman died, the guy ended up going to the pet shop, and he bought this mermaid, and the mermaid looked so much like the wife that killed herself, And there's like again no spoilers. I don't want to ruin the ending for these anthology horror, especially an anime anthology horror. But then you got the second story called Despair about this. It's like pretty much trying to rip off Mark Hamill's character, who started. You know how Mark Hamill started in the movie Star Wars, and Despair you got a guy, an actor who started in the movie called Space Wars, and he's like supposed to be like a one-hit wonder. He collects reptiles. One day he goes to the pet shop. He ended up buying a like a snake woman, which is pretty much Medusa. He actually brought Medusa in the pet shop, and he's so much in love with this woman, and then take a while to get to the outcome. Again, no spoilers. I can't spoil it for you because it's gonna suck if I spoil it for you. Episode 4 is Duel, which is like the strongest part of the 3 stories, I would say, in my opinion. Even though I like all of them, but episode 4 is cool because it talks about this history about the president of the United States, or people of power. They go to the pet shop and buy this thing called a krillin or something. Like it's like a unicorn, like a half dragon, half unicorn type of creature, and it gives you your wishes, and pretty much the last guy that brought it happened became president. Then you got this story about 2 best friends. One is an advisor, and one is a governor who could become the next president. And then he went to the pet shop to buy a krillin, but the krillin ended up being like a little boy in the shape of a boy. And then the car started crashing, and while they trying to save a school bus, and then the person died, and the assistant died, and let's just say one of the survivors, the critic came up and offered them a wish about power, and the assistant say he just want Nancy to be happy, the governor's wife, and there's a twist, and every 4 still have a twist to the end, and like I said, I don't want to ruin the ending because it's going to ruin the experience with this anthology horror. But very very good movie, and very scary too for anime horror, because usually I've seen a lot of anime horror. They're really not scary, But this one was scary. I would say this is actually the first anime horror that actually scared the shit out of me. Like if you watch like in a really dark room, and it will give you the scare moment, like like this. And I see a lot of reviews for like a 5-star, 4-star review, 8, 9, or 10 review. I'll give this one a 8. There's some silly moments in it too, by the way, which I felt like could have been avoided. Like one scene when like in the beginning of like the first story when there's like a lot of creatures, let's just say, and the pet shop owner that comes back for the creature, the cop end up going right through the little mini creatures and stuff, and without being bit, you know. So I just find that kind of weird, you know. It's like, okay, these creatures are biting people, but not the cop. The owner, I understand, because the owner has like supernatural powers and stuff. You know, you gotta have supernatural powers if you own supernatural creatures and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But when I first heard of the concept, I just thought it was silly. But then when I saw it for Netflix to rent, I was like, okay, let me see what this is about. And then it really does live up to hype. But Picture of Horrors is definitely an enjoyable anime. Definitely a good horror anime too, by the way. And the only weakness is, I would say, mostly the main thing is that I'm surprised they only continue up to 4 episodes. They deserve to have more episodes than 4. But this was like in 1999, so hey, just read the Japanese comic book. Anyway, peace, guys.